Of everything he's spoken about, which of course is very important, the two areas that we need to conclude and sort out as a house. The first one, Senator Moy, is the issue of digital hailing applications. This is a matter that, Mr. Speaker, we've tried to deal with from 2015, before I came to the Senate. Our drivers, our young people in Nairobi, Kisumu, Mombasa, who are driving Ubers, Bolt, and all of those other applications. Mr. Speaker, these companies have been competing in what we call a race to the bottom. And Senator Mutula brought a question to my Committee on Labor, which we said we must deal with jointly, and we started the process. In fact, at some point, NTSA started going around doing public participation on the regulations, but COVID came and they stopped. Mr. Speaker, if you get into an Uber today, I'm not sure you use Ubers, but I'm sure you sometimes request for some to be used. Mr. Speaker, for your workers, your staff, etc. Mr. Speaker, the minute you pay in that cab, immediately 25% goes to Netherlands, to Uber BV. 25% of what you're paying that taxi driver. Many times from here, for instance, from here to Lavington or from here to Kayole, it's like 300 shillings. That Uber driver, and the reason we had a lot of accidents around COVID, they have to drive 18 hours a day to make sense of what they're being paid. So the first thing we said in the regulations, the draft regulations that came, and I wish the chair of delegated legislation was here, the commission that goes to these companies cannot be 25%. It must be maximum 15% of the commission. And then number two, and we engage with the Competition Authority, the Ministry of ICT, the Ministry of Transport. There must be a minimum rate per kilometer and per hour or per minute, because the race to the bottom. So you might enjoy paying a low rate, but this person, in fact, in January, Mr. Speaker, 4,000 Ubers were being auctioned. 4,000. And I hope everyone listens, because whether it is bottom up you're talking about or 6,000, these young people are there. They cannot be able to afford servicing. And of all who went for those Ubers to buy them at the auction, they were taking them back. It's a vicious cycle. If you take an Uber in the US, in DC, or in New York, immediately you get in, there's the charge that goes to the state. The commission is not that 25. Kenya is I think, 28th. It's one of the highest in the world. And then on top of that, the per minute, per kilometer rate is sensible. So we said, look, let's set a minimum. And the Automobile Association of Kenya has been helping and said, look, we know what is wear and tear. And what the minister is now doing is saying that for them to set up minimum pricing, because the 15% is there, and I remember we've discussed, because we pushed that at the Labour Committee, which you are a member of. But they're saying that this minimum pricing, or minimum pricing formula, that they want to hire a consultant to start a procurement process of looking for a consultant to try and agree on a pricing formula. And we're saying that will take a year. There'll be another government. It will take too long. What they should put in the regulations, if you sit in delegated legislation, is this. Because I sat with the CEO of Uber, Bolt, all of these companies, and we agreed. They said within themselves they're willing to have a minimum, a floor. The only problem is when today Uber sets it at 5 shillings per minute and whatnot per kilometer, another company goes lower, and so they race to the bottom. But they're willing to self-regulate. So what should be there in that regulation is just one line, that the Cabinet Secretary, in consultation with stakeholders, should set periodically a minimum rate. When fuel goes to 139, the rate for Uber is not changing. So you find someone has taken you from here to the airport at less than 1,000 shillings, yet it's how many kilometers away, and fuel is at more than 126 shillings. So that is the first thing, and I beg, I'm willing as Chair of Labour to sit with you as Chair of ICT and Chair of Delegated. We complete this within the next 1 month. The drivers are restless.